I work 84 hours in the week. In my very first year, I earned 141 grand in 9 months of work. I had 2 months off at Christmas time. Honestly, money is here to be earned.
So, Cal, we spoke about a year and a half ago because I was very intrigued by FIFO and how much money people were making or are making. We'll get to the money side of things in a moment, but maybe first of all, you can just give us a sense of you and your journey, how you came across FIFO and the work you're doing now.
Yeah, okay. Well, I first of all came across FIFO. It all actually started whenever COVID happened. So, sort of rewinding before I even came to Australia and knew what FIFO was, I was working in nightclubs. I was a nightclub promoter and an events manager in Belfast, running all different kinds of nightlife events in different places in Belfast. And then COVID put an absolute stop to all of that there. We used to have like a bit of an empire of all these different nights going, all these staff working for us, and all was going good. And then overnight, COVID just completely rug pulled the business from under us, and we were sort of going from putting 5, 6, 700 people into venues to being jobless, really. So then, whenever that happened, we then started a printing company, but like that was sort of just it took a long time to get off the ground. So I was working in doing Amazon deliveries at the weekends, and then I was also doing like takeaway deliveries. And I started working in Lidl, the supermarket, just to have extra money coming in. And then whenever that was happening, I was always thinking like, oh, I would love to go away traveling. I would love to be making more money. And I was sort of a bit frustrated because I wasn't really getting anywhere. I was sort of like just working to live, not really saving anything. I was working loads and loads and wasn't really progressing, wasn't able to go and do what I wanted. So then I started to like look up different things to make like a lot of money like fairly quickly. FIFO was one of them. I'm moving to Australia, and the other one was commercial diving. Do you know, like the underwater welders that you see, like working with a big like space helmets on?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was looking up that, and then FIFO was the like coming to Australia and trying to get into the FIFO mining industry was the one that took the cake. Yeah, just saw there wasn't really that much information on it. There was what FIFO was, but there wasn't a whole lot of information on like how people can get in or whatever. All you sort of saw was you needed to know somebody and it was very hard to get in and you need to have loads of experience and all that kind of stuff. But that's how I first of all discovered it. And then I was like, right, that sounds good. I've always wanted to go to Australia. I've always got a travel bug. So I was thinking, if you get to Australia, you're way closer to Southeast Asia and there's all these different places I wanted to go over here. So I thought, right, that's the plan. How the hell do you do that? And then started to try and research and sort of come up with a bit of a game plan on what I needed to do in order to get over there in terms of visas and organising everything. And then what I actually had to do as soon as I landed in Australia in order to sort of get myself a job. So that's how I like discovered it. It was COVID really stopping my whole like nightlife business and then me sort of forcing me into different kinds of jobs that I wasn't enjoying. And then, yeah, then I started researching and came up with what I'm doing now.
Yeah. Tell me, when you got there, you got to Australia, you started looking for a job. Was it easier or harder than you thought?
It was definitely harder. Definitely harder. The stuff you see online, like you see that Australia is absolutely screaming out for people to come work in. It's super supply shortage of jobs. There's like not enough people to fill all the roles, blah blah blah. So you just sort of presume that like you're going to be able to get a job quite easy. But it's like anywhere. It's like being back in Ireland. Like you're just in a big pool of like all these people from all over the world really that are like in Perth where I was to try and get one of these FIFO jobs. Because to be honest, the barrier to entry isn't actually that high. Like I came over with no experience whatsoever. As just told you, like I was just running nightclubs like since I was like 17. So no mechanical background, no nothing to do with machines or working on tools or anything like that. And I was able to get a job within a month of landing. But it took I knew it was going to be a struggle, but it was a lot of grit and grind. And as soon as I landed, every second of every day was laser focused on trying to get the job. And I sort of knew that I had to like do extra training and sort of advertise myself the right way and sort of go about all these like little steps in order to give myself the best chances. And to be honest, that little plan that I'd made sort of rewinded before I went to Australia. I booked my flight for probably about 10 months in the future. So I knew I was going to Australia and I knew the FIFO was the plan. This is while I was still working in Lidl, doing the Amazon deliveries. But I was like in my spare time trying to piece together a little pathway and a little jigsaw on how exactly, as soon as I landed, I need to do this, then I need to do this, then I need to do this. And that was sort of what
Mm-hmm.
I planned. And to be honest, it actually worked out exactly to plan. And I got a job within 28 days of landing. So less than a month of landing. I had no experience and I was able to get a FIFO job. And that was it. That was it,
Lot to
really.
be said for having clear goals. Now, just to set the scene here, some people will be listening to this while some people will be watching it. For the people
Yeah.
listening to it, we're chatting. You're in Australia. You're in the desert. You're in what looks like a prefab canteen. You're in your orange overalls.
Yes.
So tell me, tell me, like, what's going on? What time did you get up today? How will your day unfold?
So where I am right now, this is actually our workshop office. Imagine like a little mobile home kind of thing that's just been plopped into the middle of the outback. And we've got a project going on right now. This is a gold mine. It's in the area of Western Australia, northwest of Australia, called the Pilbara. Pilbara region is very rich in iron ore. It's very rich in gold. We're sort of South Pilbara because like the middle of the south or the middle of Western Australia is known as the gold fields. So we're sort of in the middle of, or we're at the very bottom of the iron ore, but the very top of the gold field. So the mine I'm on at the minute is a gold mine, and we are contracted to build a new. It's called a portal. So like, there's underground mining here, but the job that I'm doing right now. We're tasked to like build a portal. So we're building a big pit right now, and then that's going to be an entrance to start tunneling underground. I am never going to be going underground, but my role, I'm a serviceman right now. We can get into that a bit more later on if you want. So yeah, I'm looking after like a fleet of probably 25 different machines that are all the bulk like earth moving stuff. There's big excavators, there's dump trucks, there's graders, compactors, rollers, that kind of stuff. And I, as a serviceman, I'll just need to be making sure that everything is like running smoothly. I drive around in a service truck, which has got like fuel and grease and AdBlue, transmission oil, engine oil, all the different oils that like the machines need. And I'll have a little routine where I'll go and visit all the machines that we have on site, and I'll make sure they're filled up with fuel and they're just sort of greased up well and all the oils are at the right level, just so it minimizes the amount of time that they're actually like down. So because whenever a machine's down, it's like not working and the production is like a bit slower. So that's my role is
Got
to
it.
make sure. Yeah, and then also servicing the machines as well.
What time did you wake up today, and for how many hours will you work today?
Well, I'm actually on night shift right now.
Okay,
So
got it.
I woke up, I got to bed at about, we get back to camp at around 5 a.m. And so I'll get back to camp later on at 5 a.m. I'll just go straight to get a shower, straight up to get breakfast, and other people will be in having their breakfast, and then they'll be going to work, whereas I'm heading back to my room to try and get to sleep. I've got an eye mask, I've got earplugs to try and get a few hours sleep. I normally getting around sort of 5.5 hours, 6 hours, depending on how well you can sleep. And then I will start work again at, well, we'll leave camp at 4:30, and then we'll have to drive to here, which is about 30 minutes. So pre-start is at 5, and then I'll work 12 hours. So we'll head back to camp, and yeah. But whenever I'm day shift, my alarm will be going off at 3:45 a.m. to be leaving camp at 4:30, and then driving to site to start work at 5 a.m. And then shifts for 12 hours. So you're asking about like hours I work. I work 84 hours in the week. So that's 12-hour days for 7 days in a row. And I do that for 2 weeks in a row. So in FIFO, you work rosters, or they're also known as swings. So the most popular one is the one I'm on, a 2-in-1. So that's working for 2 weeks in a row, and then you have 1 full week off. So 14 days of 12-hour shifts, no breaks, no nothing. Or you can do a 3-in-1 that I did on my very, very first job. That was hard because you're working for 21 days in a row, 12-hour shifts, which is horrible. But you're loving the money because you're getting paid loads because you're working for 3 weeks, 84 hours a week in a row. So yeah, other popular ones you can get is a 2-in-2, which is 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, which would probably actually be really, really good because you're working for 2 weeks, then you have a full 2 week break of you can go traveling, you can go doing whatever, but having 2 weeks off would be sweet. But if your goal is to maximize the amount of money you're trying to earn, a 2-in-2 probably isn't the one to go for because you're 2 weeks of not earning and 2 weeks of spending whenever you're off. So it really depends on what kind of goal you're wanting to what roster would suit you best.
Yeah. Well, let's talk money. What can a person earn? Give me a sense. of
Okay, well,
the
my very
starting
first
salary?
year, so I came over with, as I say, yeah, no experience. Started from brand new. They started me on 33.50. Okay, but in that very first job on that 3-in-1, you either get paid flat rate or you get paid an hourly rate plus penalties.
Let me just
On that
stop you
very
there.
first one,
Let me just stop you there. What's
yeah,
33.50?
$33.50
$33.50 for what? For like tell me.
for an hour for what 1 hour work.
Okay, got it.
But that was my base rate, and then like I was on penalties, so like you got double time on Sundays. You got the first 2 hours on a Saturday were time and a half, then the rest of the day was double time. So to sort of round that off, like that's maybe can get confusing. But in my very first year, I earned 141 grand in 9 months of work. That was working 3-in-1s, and I had 2 months off at Christmas time. So I was working for 9 months, and I totaled 141,000 Australian dollars.
Okay, and they're paying for your accommodation, for your food,
Yeah,
and
yeah. So
for okay.
another great thing about FIFO. Like you're up here. Yes, the work is hard, but your costs are virtually zero. Like on my first year, wasn't renting anywhere in Perth, so all my wages were going into my pocket. I was not paying for rent. I was not paying for like food. Whenever you're up here, your accommodation's paid for, your flights are paid for. Like you can come up the site and spend absolutely $0 the entire time you're here. If you want to smoke or if you want to buy snacks or treats or whatever, go to the bar. That will all cost money. But everything else that if you didn't want to do that, which I didn't, you can like pretty much not spend a dollar, and all those wages are going into your pocket. So your costs are very, very low, and your hourly rate is pretty high, and the amount of hours you're working is very, very high. So 84 hours in the week, earning a decent hourly wage. You can see how that like racks up very quickly doing that for like 3 weeks in a row. So
Does it
yeah,
make people kind of miserable then? Like, do you get people who you're making so much money, you're getting your accommodation paid for? Can people become a bit tight then? They don't want to spend anything.
definitely. Like I would say, like, see the people that have been in this game for a long time. It is not that kind of game. It is a get in, grab the money, and leave whenever you can. The boys that like you chat to up here that have been here for 10, 15 years, they've got loans out on cars and jet skis and motorbikes, and they're just like they're stuck now because they have to repay those loans, and they're so used to this like high wage coming in that they're almost like they're trapped here because they've got all these things going on. Whereas like in my very first year, I had a goal of like working for the full year, well 9 months, and then my goal was to go away traveling for a year. So that was my like North Star. I was like, all my work and all my effort is going in to save up money to go on that travel trip. But yeah, there's boys that have been here a long time. It'll make mushy peas out of your brain. So it really, really would. It's like being on a different world up here. There's different rules. There's different ways to get on. There's different like people, like different cultures, different ages, different all that kind of stuff. So it's a bit strange because you have all these different kind of characters that are all on this little weird mine site. I sort of describe it as like being on Mars because it's like its own little town, well, own little like village, kind of temporary village, way out in the middle of absolute nowhere. But yeah, it can chew you up and spit you out pretty quickly if you're not like switched on and sort of headstrong, I would say, and sort of focused on the positives. You can see how people don't click gel well to it, but if you can stick in it and you can get through it, you can earn a lot of money fairly quickly.
Have you seen anyone that couldn't stick it and was gone after a couple of days or a
Oh
couple of weeks?
yeah. So in that very first year, or in that very first job, like because like FIFO and mining has sort of increased a lot on social media, like over the last sort of like year or so, or 2 years. And obviously people are saying how much money you can earn and you get the week off and all the good benefits of working FIFO. And they are good benefits, but to actually put yourself in the position to be here working, it's hard. So if you can imagine, like you're working for like me right now, I'm working for 14 days in a row, switching between night shift and day shift, like your body's all up the left, you're sleeping crap, and you're it's very grinding and very non-stop. And if you have a bad day or you're sore, you need to get to bed as soon as you can because your alarm is going off at 4 a.m. the next morning, and that's just big long day. Back like as soon as I'll finish my shift, I'll be covered in muck and diesel and dirt. I'll be heading home. I'll jump straight into the shower. I'll go and get my dinner. I'll organise my lunch for the next day, and then I've probably got around 1 hour, 1.5 hours, 2 hours to call family, scroll on my phone, do whatever, and then I have to get to bed by latest 9 p.m. because your alarm's going off at 4, and that's just you're just a little worker bee, a little worker ant to one of these big projects that these big companies have got
Yeah.
going on.
Tell me about day 14, which is when your shift finishes and you get that week off. In what state are you in?
Oh
Are we
well,
talking?
you
Okay.
feel like it's Christmas morning. You're absolutely buzzing.
Okay.
Your butt. It feels like you're getting let out of prison.
Wow.
Yeah, but like I don't really have like something planned for my week off, so like that will be the little carrot dangled in front of you that you'll know like, oh, I'm going to be going on this trip, or I'm going to be doing this on my week off, and you're just excited. You're excited to get back and to eat different food and go to the beach and chill out. I'll like go surfing, or I'll go watch my friends play rugby, or I'll go have a night out, or you're the way people back home were like living for the weekend kind of thing. Like they're normally working Monday to Friday, living for the weekends. You're living for your week off, but that week off, you can go and do whatever you want. Like I could go fly to Bali, I could go fly to Vietnam, I could go travel around Australia. Like your week off is completely up to yourself. And if you were working a 2 and 2, that's 2 weeks, like a 2 week holiday anywhere you wanted, with your pockets full of money because you're earning so much.
Yeah. How often would you go to Bali or Vietnam, and how many people do that?
There are a decent amount of people doing it. If I was to do my first year again, I would definitely do it a lot more. But my whole goal was to save up for a big travel trip that I went on. So I finished my first year and then went away on a big travel trip for a year. So my whole goal was to save the entire time I was in Australia, and sort of just like on my weeks off, be chilling and relaxing and sort of just doing stuff around Perth. I had a couple of little like road trips and stuff like that, but nothing big. And then whenever my first year visa was over, I then did 2 months in Indonesia, then went 2 months Thailand, did 10 weeks in Vietnam, then did 2 months Philippines, then 2 months New Zealand, and then came back to Australia for my second year. And that was all funded by my FIFO job. So yeah, that was my goal, to like work and sort of stick it out so I could have a big piggy bank to go and travel. And I was living like a king in all those places, 3-course dinners, doing every activity I wanted, and it was insane. So worth it.
And are you earning more now than the year you started?
So I am probably earning less because I'm on a 2-in-1 now.
Okay.
So because if you weigh up like a 3-in-1 versus a 2-in-1, you're working more weeks in the year on a 3-in-1 than you would be on a 2-in-1. But you're still earning great money. Like right now, I'm on $60 an hour. So that's $60 an hour flat rate. So at the minute I'm on 15% tax, because people on working holiday visas are on 15% tax up until $45,000. So I'm in that bracket at the minute. And I'm earning, I got paid a couple of days ago, it was 4284. $4,284 is what is into my account after tax. That works out around like £2,100. So it does. So you're earning over $2,000 a week after tax into your bank, while up here, gym free, coffee free, food free, everything free, and you're saving, or you're earning $2,000 a week. So it's still mental money, way more than I was earning back in Ireland. And yeah, you can sort of just rack up and sort of,
What's the most you could earn? Okay, so just imagine I'm a person who has no respect for my body or my mind.
It really depends on the role that you're doing, the experience you have, the company you're working for. Obviously, some companies pay better than other companies. Depend on the swing. So if someone came over, let's say, for example, they're a mechanic. Mechanic get paid quite a lot. So mechanic, they're also called fitters. So if people are back home and they're working on like agricultural gear, which is like quite common, a lot of Irish boys over here that came up on working on farms and working on cars and stuff. I'm on $60 an hour. A fitter will probably be on around, well, probably range between like $75 and like $95, I would say. So I'm on 60 and I'm earning $2,000 a week. Someone that's a fitter, or for example like a crane operator, or like a welder, or like an electrician, or like some big trade, they'll be on, I wouldn't even be able to put a number on it, to be honest, but like you'd be on way more than I would be. I'm like, so in that first year I earned 141,000. A fitter friend that I know, he was on and 260 grand in a year, on that first job I was in. So money, honestly, money is here to be earned. If you can stick it out and you can, just get over the environment and how dusty it is and horrible it is and the long hours, etc., etc. If you can muck in and you're a hard grafter, the money is there to be earned, 100%.
How dangerous is it?
Yeah, it's very dangerous. But they see safety's a big focus on a lot of things. You have like safety talks, and then there'll be like safety briefings, and there's these things called toolboxes where like a safety person will come in and talk you through like different things. You have to do like the take fives, which are little. I don't even have one around me. But there's like take fives books, which will be like little things that you fill out like before you do a task, and there's all these different sort of things that are put in place to try and mitigate the dangers. But to be honest, at the end of the day, everything up on site has the chance to kill you. People do die, and like when accidents happen, like on any kind of job. But yeah, big. There's everything's massive up here. It's lots of pressures going through hoses, and
Mm.
there's just a lot of stuff can go wrong. So it is dangerous. They try and mitigate the dangers the best they can. But
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
there's no way you can absolutely eliminate everything.
Are you insured in that regard?
You're probably I'd say like the company will be insured. So if
Yeah.
anything was to happen to me, the company I'm working for would be it'd be their insurance that would be happening. Like I don't have to get like my own insurance to work here. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Got it. So do they have
Yeah.
like psychologists on site to, to that you
As
can
time
go?
has gone on, and especially since I came, so this is my second year over here. If you get chatting to sort of friends and stuff, and they say like it came on leaps and bounds from what it used to be like years ago. Like on my first job, I even did like a first aid mental health like course. Other people joined in, and there's psychologists up on sites and stuff like that, and your sort of fatigue management is a lot. Is sort of looked after a lot more, and they'll put on things like in on the camp to try and like mitigate that, and there'll be like group like focus groups and group talks and stuff like that. But it's a crazy way to work and a crazy lifestyle to
Yeah.
be in. Can you imagine if you're doing 12 hour days and you're on day 18, like you're ready to pull your hair out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you can get through it, you've earned grand and grand each week. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Have you ever had to like pull a friend aside and say like you're cooked, you need to take a break, or you haven't got the last
I,
week and you?
not personally. Like I'm quite high energy and quite chatty, and people would say that like so whenever I drive around the service truck, the operators would say that like the best part of their day is like actually whenever I arrive to like fill up the truck and do whatever
I can, yeah.
because those like you can imagine those guys are sitting in a machine like for 12 hours, and the only interaction they're getting is people talking on the two-way, the UHF radio.
Mm.
So whenever I come, it's all, oh, what's happening? How's it going? Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, like chatting away. They'll come out and have a smoke, but I'm the only sort of social interaction they're getting. Whereas, like, I'm on the go all the time and I'm seeing everybody that's driving the machine. So, like, I'm not really thinking that. And then on my time off, or not time off, but like on my, like, 2 hours that I have, like, up on site, I'm constantly trying to make my little TikTok videos or answering people's questions and doing voice notes, and sort of my focus is on that. So I'm okay, but I can see how other people would struggle.
Hmm.
In
Hmm.
terms of like actually me sort of noticing people, not really, to be honest. Like all my wee sort of crew are good and high energy and sort of friendly, and but it does get brought up at pre-start, and like supervisors and all are always saying like if you're wanting to chat, we're here and all that kind of stuff. But not me personally.
Yeah. What about romantic relationships? Is it difficult to sustain one?
Yeah, it would be. So right now, me and my girlfriend are actually working together, which is amazing. But on my very first job, there was two guys on the crew that were like going through like divorces, like as I was there, and they were frig. It was all they could talk about, all they could think about, and like I imagine it is hard on relationships. Yes, like you can imagine your partner being away for 3 weeks out of the month, and
Mm.
then whenever they come back for their week off, they're busted and they're wrecked and just want to chill and just want to sleep, and then all of a sudden your week just flows, and then they're away again for another 3 weeks. So yes, it is hard. Me and my girlfriend, we're on the same site, but we're on like different companies. So we only really see each other at nighttime. But sometimes like which is a big benefit. But sometimes like we're both too wrecked and we're sort of just like, oh, I'll just see you tomorrow kind of thing. But yeah, whenever we weren't working together, it was definitely hard. And sometimes there's been a few swings where our week off hasn't lined up, where my break will be different to her break. So she'll be going back to Perth and have her week off, and I'll still be up here, and vice versa. So it's definitely hard on relationships. If you can get up to like I've helped a lot of couples come over and get jobs on the same site, same crew. And like sort of groups of friends and stuff. That is definitely kind of the goal for a lot of people. But yeah, it can definitely be hard in relationships for sure.
Like, how many Irish people are on your crew?
On my crew, yeah, good for you to be fair. There's probably the biggest contingency would be Aussies, and then it'd
Hmm.
probably be Kiwis, then it'd be Irish, then it would be everyone else kind of thing. Uh, on my crew, probably about 35 to probably about 25 to 30% Irish, I would say.
Hmm. And
But
do they
it's
have
still a
do
good,
they have a
good amount.
reputation? Like, how are they thought of as a
Yeah,
general
no,
kind of
Irish
cohort?
people and Australians like get on well. Like banter sort of similar. We're hard grafters. We're coming from like horrible conditions back home. Boys that are working in construction, working on like agriculture, used to shitty, like, crappy weather, and yeah, and we'll come over here and like you're earning all this money and you want to like prove your worth, and like they're taking quite well because we're hard workers. So we're sort of known over here to be grafters, and these guys like whenever it starts raining, they're all planning around in the rain, and we're like, this is the norm. This
Yeah.
is the norm to us. So the Irish people, yeah, they're pretty good relationship, I would say. Obviously, you get the odd person and that doesn't gel well or whatever. But on the whole, in general, I would say the Australians and the Irish work quite well together. And yes, there are a lot of Irish over here for
Yeah.
sure. Definitely in Perth, there's a huge Irish community in Perth. Loads of Irish bars, loads of Irish events on, the big Irish community. So yeah, that was the thing that drew me to Perth, and obviously there's way more, but there's way more FIFO opportunities in Perth compared to like Sydney or Melbourne or whatever.
Hmm.
But yes, definitely loads of Irish over here.
I've heard about some Irish people going over there specifically with the intention of saving for a mortgage or getting that deposit together. Like,
Yeah,
is that possible? Like, could you actually, and if so, like, how many years do you think it would take?
it is definitely is possible, but it's sort of down to you and how much money you're saving. Like I'm saving, well, I'm earning £2,000 a week after tax. So if I'm smart with this and I can like do this for an extended period of time, you can save up a big chunk. So as Irish people, we're like 3 years on a working holiday visa. There's different pathways and stuff if you want to stay on long term. But anyone that's coming over on a working holiday visa, you can get 3 years. So if you can get a FIFO job and you can smash out those 3 years of working, like definitely you can go home with a big chunk of money. But again, it is down to if you're going traveling on your weeks off, or you're big spending big on restaurants and nights out and parties and all that kind of stuff. But like the money is coming in, but it's then down to the individual on how well are you at managing it and how well are you at saving that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
that's it. Because
after your 3 years,
yeah.
second,
Well, I just think I'm thinking to myself, yes, you're going to get the people who are really good at saving, but then I'm sure that you get some party animals who like
oh, yeah,
actually you need to go
yeah,
back and earn just to like fund the next party.
definitely. It's like the same kind of stigmas back home. The way like people will be working Monday to Friday, and then on the Friday they'll get let loose and they'll just go on the rip. It's sort of the same.
Yeah.
Well, not same in like in like a big sense. But there's obviously people that like don't sort of fall into that, but there are a big group of people that do fall into that. And on their weeks off, it is at one of the Irish bars every day, partying, going to big events, getting up to mischief on these big nights out or whatever, and spend. And like if you're in Perth and you're going out and you're splashing money in restaurants, like your money can friggin' get eaten up fast. Definitely can.
Hmm.
So it's down to the person, down to how like well they're managing the money, how well they're sort of able to stay away from that. But there's definitely a lot of stuff over here that like is put on to, or there's definitely options to not sort of fall into that. Like I'm not really a big drinker at all. I hardly drink on my weeks off. Like I don't go out partying, don't do all that, and I'm able to like I try and save my money to go on these big travel trips. So that's what my sort of goal. So I'm not really into going out and party. Like I think I've been to like maybe 2 nightclubs in Perth in 2 years. So it's not my kind of thing. But there are boys that are locked up here, working away, and that week off they will be going mad.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you know what I mean. It's really
Yeah.
down to the individual.
Well, you strike me as someone who is boxing very clever with it because you've also
Yeah,
you've segued into this social media side of things where you become the kind of FIFO guy, you know?
yeah, I know. Weird.
Yeah. So tell me about that.
Yeah, so it all just started like whenever I came over here, and like my friends and family back home were here, and I was doing this FIFO mining thing, and they were all asking me about it. So I was like, right, and I had like nothing really on social media before. I was maybe like mountain bike videos or surfing videos. Or just me and my friends. Like nothing at all. Was never my intention to like get to where I am right now. And whenever I was over here, I started to take everything was crazy. Big machines, big engines, big tires, like big diggers, big trucks, whatever it was. The landscapes were all different. Like I'm quite into like cool landscapes and like nice scenery and stuff. Like everything was like very fresh and very cool and very new. So I started making little videos, like sort of post on my TikTok to show my friends and family who, whenever they ask me, "What are you doing?" I'll be like, go watch that video. That's what I'm doing. So that's sort of how it happened. And then there's a few of them caught real wind, and then it. So the very first one that did really well was the tour of my room, right? If anybody wants, go onto my TikTok, scroll right down to the bottom, and the FIFO room tour was the first one that like actually like sort of caught wind and did well. And then once that did well, I knew a good one would be how much money I was earning. So then I think one of my biggest videos is how much money I was earning as a new starter. I think that's on like 3 point something million views at the minute. And so then once those sort of two videos like did very well, then the floodgates of messages I was getting was insane. Was so many. And I was like trying to give everybody the time of day, try and send everybody voice notes to sort of talk them through what their questions were. But I was not able to keep up. I was trying to like maybe reply to 20, 30 messages in a night, and then the next day I'd wake up to like 230 messages, and I was just inundated by this tsunami tidal wave of messages of generally everybody asking the same kind of stuff. They're asking, the main thing I was sort of getting was like, oh, see all this FIFO stuff you're doing, looks really cool. Would love to do it myself. I have no idea where to start. What do I do? Or who do I speak to? They want to know where to get your training done, what tickets you need to get, how do you apply for the companies, what companies to apply to, like all the general kind of small questions that people are wanting to come over and move to Australia and get into FIFO. That was all generally the questions I was getting. So then, whenever I was getting all this and couldn't keep up with the demand, I was like, I actually see a gap in the market here, because whenever I was coming over, there honestly wasn't really that much information about someone in my position. I was looking for something to be like, right, I'm overseas right now. I want to come over to Australia and I want to get into FIFO. What is the pathway for me to do that? That did not exist. I sort of had to like research and create my own little path. So then whenever everybody was asking me the same kind of stuff, I was thinking, right, I'm going to put all of my knowledge and all of my information and design a little step-by-step guide ebook. I'm going to try and make it as detailed as I can. I'm going to try to make it as easy to follow as possible. And I'm going to try and put as much effort into it as I can to try and like, whenever people ask me questions, I'm just going to go, get that, start from the very beginning and just work your whole way through it. It took me months and months and months to make, but I was sort of just like, after all these questions were getting asked, I knew the information people were wanting and the exact sort of, now I was in the industry and how I would maybe have done things differently. I just created a little step-by-step guide that I now has done pretty well. And then I was like, once that started to do well, I then leaned into doing like more little digital products. So the main one I have is for people coming from overseas. So that people from Ireland, people from England, that's sort of the main like audience that I'm getting there. But then I've also designed a guide that is specifically for people that are in Australia already. That doesn't include all the visa stuff, setting up bank accounts. That's for people that are here and working holiday visas already, or are Australian locals or New Zealand locals or whatever it is. And then other little ones that I have. A lot of times people are asking me about contacts. I see you're over in Australia working FIFO. Do you have any contacts for me? Who do I speak to? Mm-hmm. Like how do I get speaking to the right people? So I designed another thing on my website, which is the 10 pages of FIFO contacts. It took me again a long time, and I just made a big giant table of 188 FIFO companies that, with all their recruitment emails, their phone numbers, the links to their email, a little like sort of category on what kind of jobs they're going to be hiring for, and I just did that, and that was so anytime people ask me about contacts, I'll send them to that. But generally, whenever people are asking me, don't know where to start, what do I do? I'll just say, get that step-by-step guide, start from the beginning, and just work your way through it. Mm-hmm. And that's sort of how it evolved and how it happened. And it's actually amazing because the information and the knowledge that I'm telling people, or what I'm telling people to do, is working, and people are getting jobs out of it. And I've no joke helped hundreds of people come over here and get FIFO jobs, and they're all following the little step-by-step guide that I've laid out, and it's working for people. So it's amazing to see. And I get little messages weekly of people saying, Thanks so much, Cal. Like your videos inspired me to come over to Australia. Like leave home and come over, and now I've got a FIFO job, earning money, and going to Bali at the weekend, and blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. So
Class.
it's mad how it all started, and yeah, it's sort of just evolved and snowballed from there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I
Yeah.
guess I'm now the FIFO guy.
The FIFO guy. So
Yeah.
you're working on a gold mine. You're working alongside people who are here for the FIFO gold rush. So they're the
Yes.
type of people who are like looking for the quick money and where are things happening now to make it. Is there anything emerging? Is there any other sectors where people are then moving on to? Like, is there anything else kind of, I don't know, cooking out there that people are interested in?
It's actually it's very very closely tied to the whole like global economy supply chain of stuff. So at the minute, iron ore is sort of on a bit of a downturn, but vice versa, gold is absolutely on a complete upswing. So the gold mines, there's a big area in Western Australia called the gold fields, and one of the big main pits there is in a town called Kalgoorlie, and it is absolutely flying. Like projects are opening up here, there, and everywhere, and a lot of people that I'm helping come over are ending up in Kalgoorlie because like all the gold mines are absolutely flying and are needing people right now. So people are like tend to kind of follow the trends. Yes, there's obviously still jobs up here in the Pilbara where I am, but there's a lot happening in the gold fields right now. But again, it's really tied to the production and the minerals. Like there's like lithium mines over here, copper mines, zinc mines, coal mines, which is more sort of over east, but I wouldn't advise anybody getting into those. But yeah, it's sort of peaks and troughs for each little mineral and each little category, and sort of yeah. But I would maybe say like with the whole world wanting to go more green and like this whole push to become more green and more renewable, it's weird to say, but the mining industry probably even has to ramp up because all these to build the batteries for the EVs and build the wind turbines and all that kind of stuff, all that stuff has to come from somewhere, and it's generally mined in Australia. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what about you? What's your ultimate game plan here? Like, do you have a number in mind? Do you have a number of years in mind? What's the
The game
plan?
plan. So I'm about to finish my second year. So I'm going to go to the Philippines for a travel trip for 2 months. Then I'm going back to Ireland for April for a couple of friends' weddings, and then I'm going to be coming back for my third year. So that's going to be my very last year of my working holiday visa. I probably wouldn't, as where I am right now, I probably would not have the pathway to permanent residency because the job that I'm on is not on the skill shortage list. So I'm thinking about going to once I finish my third year. I'm going to probably go away on another big travel trip for like a year, I would say. Then I want to go to New Zealand, do a working holiday visa in New Zealand, just to experience that. And then I'm going to come back to Australia to get on a student visa. And I'm probably going to study the likes of carpentry or plumbing or some kind of trade that is like a very hands-on trade that will be a skill with me for forever and ever, and I'll be able to come back to Ireland or go to New Zealand or stay in Australia and have a trade behind me. Because right now, the job I'm doing is not really like a skilled trade. So that is probably going to be the plan. The long-term goal is that I'll eventually settle back in Ireland. Home is home. Home will always be home, but I'm just out on a big crazy adventure for a few years until hopefully things settle down back home, and I'm just sort of out in my own little travel bubble,
Yeah,
out and about for a few years, but I'll eventually settle back in Ireland.
sounds great. Cal, thank you so
Yeah.
much. That was really informative, and I think for anyone who wants more information, check out your ebook. Thanks so much.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you very much.